let's move it on to the football game that's now being scheduled for 2024 to open up the season for both Georgia Tech and Florida State. We've seen this in recent years, and really the ACC has been the forerunner of this. A lot of Boston College, I think they played Georgia Tech there a few years ago. Notre Dame's made a trip a couple times over there. There was a game from the Big Ten here this past season in 2022, Northwestern and Nebraska, but now they call on Florida State and Georgia Tech in Dublin. I'm going to assume that's a week 0 game because typically they send those teams over there, give them week 1 off, and then they jump back into the season. So, Chris, your thoughts about this one being scheduled?
I personally love it for multiple reasons. It is expanding the brand into a completely different portion of the world. It's allowing us to showcase our university in multiple ways. A lot of people are wondering why it's Georgia Tech that we're playing. They would rather it be Notre Dame or somebody like that. I said, well, let's go fight one side of the Irish, not both. So, I mean, I'm extremely excited for it. I dropped a link on my Facebook and Twitter. They've already dropped the fan packages of what it cost for us to go over there and watch this game. So they've got packages ready for fans to go over there, and it's actually cheaper than I thought. For the plane ticket to stay, and the game tickets is like $27.50.
So, James, back when you played, would you have cared about this? Would this have been something cool or just an annoyance, or what would have it been, you think?
I mean, it would be, one, it's cool for a couple reasons. Now, from a player's perspective, it's not as cool as it is from a fan's because they're not going to treat it like a bowl game, but it's not going to be like your regular season games, but it's going to be highly structured. So when you're on the road, you travel. Let's say they travel 3 or 4 days so you can get used to the time zone, climate, other acclimatization. They're going to wake you up at 8 a.m. for breakfast. You're going to have meetings at 10. You're going to have a bunch of different things. Your schedule is going to be laid out for you, and they may take a team-oriented trip to where you can go see something that's famous or something that's known to Ireland. But for the most part, you're really not going to be able to enjoy Ireland. But for Dublin and for these people, it's smart because you're getting people to come here who probably will have some money one day. And you know what you're going to want to do? You may see some, you may eat some shepherd's pie, and you might be like, man, I want to come back and get some shepherd's pie from that one place. And I got a couple grand in my pocket. In some time, I'm going to go do it. I like it because there is another opportunity for me to stamp my passport. So I can go see some stuff, and I can see Celtic traditions, and probably go get me now that I made sure I wasn't being racist. They wear kilts too. I don't want to say the wrong thing, but Irish people wear kilts. Go buy me a garnet and gold kilt, and I'm gonna go walk around and explore and do some cool stuff, and I'm gonna get some content. I'm in Atlanta now, so that's where we were gonna play Georgia Tech week 1. I've done nothing but complain about the drive because it's not far enough for me to have to just fly. It's close enough for me to be able to keep my car or my truck so I don't have to rent something. But then the traffic is everywhere, so you don't want to go anywhere. So Atlanta's cool. That's really what we're looking at if we would have gone there. Yes, more FSU fans would have been able to go, but let's put it in perspective. Georgia Tech has one of the smallest stadiums in the ACC. I got news for you. You probably weren't going to that game either. So watch it in Ireland, have a good time. Maybe we only have 2,000 to 5,000 people show up. But I know this. I'm going to be there. I'm going to talk with as many people as I can to be able to get there as well. And we're going to have a good time. I mean, I don't know how many black people are in Ireland, but I know I plan on making it at least one more. And I've got about 10 other people who said that they're going to come too. So my first question was, do they eat ribs in Ireland? And if they don't, then I'm going to tell my guy Shannon, we got to hook up some Guinness glazed ribs and have a good time.
Chris, were you losing it over thinking about James in a kilt? Was that what that was?
Yes.
Okay. That's what I figured.
The most part is I want to see it. Just seeing him walk around Dublin in a kilt would be. I'm getting plenty of Photoshop. Just it'll be fun. He's going to get caught from all angles, but mine are going to count.
Might be one of the larger kilts that they sell.
Yes,
maybe.
I
figured I have to get it custom.
Yeah, he'll talk me into putting one on. I already know it's going to happen. I'll be like, oh Lord. But no, I really think it's great for the brand of not just Florida State or Georgia Tech, but for college football in the United States to expose that, as we have before. Like you said, the ACC's been pretty on the money of doing it, like the Big Ten did it in 2022. But it, to me, is expanding what all different brands we have in the United States. There's so many different traditions to what we do as well. And in Ireland, they're all about tradition. So if we're able to get Chief Osceola over there to drop the spear in the middle of the field, I'm sure that we'll gain some Irish fans. So I think it's going to be really good for not just Florida State and Georgia Tech, but for college football all the way around.
And again, I want to emphasize this. It's so many of these guys. Like, I was blessed to have a lot of in the Northeast, we didn't have money, but a lot of my family, like the boys, my grandmother's brothers never left within 5 miles. So there was a concentration. So they needed to get us to visit. They could raise $300, $500 to get us plane tickets to fly back to New Jersey from Florida. So I was able to get on a plane. I was able to see the world, or you see some mountain ridges, you see some cool different things on the flight from Atlanta to Philly, or from Tallahassee to Atlanta. You saw kind of cool stuff. It opened your eyes. You'd be surprised at how many of these guys have never been on a plane until their recruiting visit. So if that tells me that a lot of these guys don't have passports. So just the idea of having 120, and I'm gonna tell you this, most Americans don't have passports, which is funny how strong-willed we are about a lot of the things that we say we are when we've never been out of the country. Some people have never been out of the state, but to have 120 young men or more, because you'll be able to take more than what you would normally take to a game, because this is a week 0 game. This isn't a regular season game, so it's considered a bonus game. I think that's cool. They'll probably make sure these guys get suits. They'll probably make sure these guys have acclimated things. So what this does for recruiting is this is just another recruiting pitch that Florida State can say, hey, we're going to play international. We're international box office boys, not just United States box office boys. But I think like one of the coolest things is taking guys through. Well, actually, I say cool, but that's going to be interesting to see. Luckily, they'll charter a flight, but they still got to go through customs. They still got to go through these things. I hope they have a camera every second of the way in this, because it's going to be funny to see guys like Ayo, or guys like, I'm not suggesting he hasn't, but see some of these guys, if he hasn't, to see his first experience going through customs, and also to see the customs officials look at them. They probably haven't seen this many large mammals come through in that manner. So I think, like I said, I think it's a very interesting life trip, and that's what college is about. I went to South Africa twice in college, and I don't think if I would have ever went to Florida State, I would have probably ever had that opportunity to go. So I think I'm very encouraged by it, even though part of me wants to see it be stateside, but then the other side of me, I can't knock the opportunity it is for the young men and young women who are trainers, because they'll be the ones who get a chance to party. It's the trainers. They don't have to go to film. They have to be in the training room. They'll do their thing, and they'll be out. And like when we went to Boston College my senior year, which is odd because now I've been to Boston numerous times, but they went to go see the original Cheers and a lot of the other stuff, and they're talking about this, and I'm like, man, I like Cheers. I like Frasier. I wanted to go see this stuff, but we're locked down in the hotel. But the sport does so much for so many people outside of the guys that we root and cheer for on a day-to-day.
They had almost 43,000 at that Nebraska Northwestern game last year.
Wow.